You know what Dostoevsky said? Man is a creature who gets used to everything. And holy shit, has he ever been proven right? Look at you, you've gotten used to the most pathetic lie of all, that your existence is just a goddamn subscription service for upgrading her life while yours circles the drain. You're like a hamster who thinks the wheel is a highway to success. The faster you run, the more impressed the other hamsters will be. Except they're not watching, buddy. They're too busy running their own wheels. You've poured your money, energy, years, mind, and future into building her a throne that would make Louis XIV blush, while you sit on the cold concrete floor beneath it like some medieval court jester waiting for approval scraps. Oh, thank you, milady, for letting me fund your Instagram lifestyle. May I have another opportunity to empty my bank account? You call it love. You call it loyalty. You call it being a real man. I call it the biggest con job since organized religion. Let me ask you something. Who's building your life while you're building hers? Who's rescuing you while you're playing Captain Save-A-Ho? It's like watching someone drown while they're trying to be a lifeguard for someone who's already on the beach getting a tan. You gave her everything, and what did you keep for yourself? Nothing. Fucking nothing. You're like a bank that gives away free money and then wonders why it went bankrupt. Dostoevsky didn't just write about guilt and suffering, he wrote about men who are so goddamn weak they throw away their souls for people who never even asked them to. Man only likes to count his troubles, he doesn't calculate his happiness. And boy, have you been counting the wrong things all along. You believed you were building a future, but you were actually constructing your own prison cell, brick by brick, funded by your blindness, mortgaged by your time, locked shut by your cowardice. You're the architect, contractor, and inmate of your own personal Alcatraz. You thought if you gave more, she would stay, like some reverse ATM where the more cash you dispense, the more love you receive. But relationships aren't vending machines where you insert sacrifice tokens and expect loyalty to come tumbling out. You thought if you made her life easier, you'd finally feel like a man. But you don't feel like a man, do you? You feel used. You feel unseen. You feel like a Walmart greeter at the entrance of someone else's life. Dostoevsky warned, lying to ourselves is more deeply ingrained than lying to others. That's what you've been doing, telling yourself this horseshit is what love looks like. Telling yourself that neglecting your future is noble, like some martyr for the religion of pussy. Real men don't give everything away to prove their worth. That's what insecure children do at the playground to make friends. Real men build themselves first so they never have to beg to be valued. You're like someone who lets their house burn down to provide heat for a neighbor who has a perfectly good furnace. You've been funding a life you don't even belong in anymore, and you know it. You feel that bitterness gnawing at your spirit like a rat in the walls, whispering, you traded yourself for nothing. You were born with a life to build, not donate. Your existence isn't a goodwill for women who need emotional handouts. Dostoevsky would call it spiritual suicide, because that's what it is, slow, silent, respectable suicide. It's like watching someone jump off a tall building in slow motion while they convince themselves they're actually learning to fly. You want to know why you feel empty? Because you've upgraded her life while letting yours rot like last month's garbage. Unless you stop now, you'll die as the man who made everyone comfortable except himself. You'll be the human version of those plastic chairs in waiting rooms, functional, supportive, and completely ignored until someone needs a place to sit. And don't you dare tell yourself you're doing it for love. If you were honest, you'd admit you're doing it for approval, for the pathetic little reward of not being left alone. It's like a dog who does tricks for treats, except the treats keep getting smaller and the tricks keep getting harder. Dostoevsky saw this game in every man, the fool building a kingdom where he holds no crown, laying bricks for a palace he will never own, begging for validation he should have earned from himself long before she arrived. The man who lies to himself loses all respect for himself, and when he has no respect, he can no longer love. That's you, buddy, running on empty but still giving free rides. What you're doing isn't love, it's servitude disguised as romance. It's slavery sold to you as masculinity, like buying a ticket to your own execution and calling it a vacation. You already know how it ends. You upgrade her lifestyle, comfort, and opportunities, And one day she leaves, not because she's evil, but because deep down she knows you were never building for yourself. You were building to impress her, like a peacock who plucks out his own feathers to make her a nest. You think I'm lying? Look around. Look at the millions of men who gave everything and ended up with nothing but memories they paid for alone. They're like those sad sacks at the casino who lost everything but keep hanging around to watch other people win. Dostoevsky understood the sickness of a man who needs to be needed, the underground man, that pitiful character who justified his weakness as depth, who turned his bitterness into a religion. You've traded ambition for convenience, mission for romance, your entire future for a seat at a table you don't even own. It's like selling your house to buy an expensive dinner. When the meal is over, you're still homeless. You wonder why you wake up bitter? You wonder why you feel like a fraud? Because you didn't build your life for love, you built it because you were afraid to stand on your own, afraid to face the silence, afraid to be a man whose life doesn't orbit around being someone else's emotional provider. You're like a satellite that forgot it can have its own trajectory. Let me tell you what Dostoevsky already knew: no woman will ever respect the man who erases himself to make her comfortable. That's like expecting someone to value a blank canvas more than a masterpiece. No woman will ever stay with a man who sacrifices his purpose just to fund her lifestyle. That's like expecting someone to treasure a dead battery more than a generator. And here's the worst part: you've known this for a long time, but you couldn't bear to admit it. If you did, you'd have to face the guilt of what you've already thrown away, like a man who realizes he's been driving in the wrong direction for years but keeps going because turning around would mean admitting he's lost. If you keep living like this, trading your life away one upgrade at a time, you'll wake up in a future you built for her and realize you no longer exist in it. You'll be nothing more than the ghost of the man you could have been, haunting the life you paid for but were never invited to live in. Yet you still cling to the lie that you're doing the right thing. You wear your self-sacrifice like it's a badge of honor, like someone bragging about how many times they've been mugged in the same alley. Dostoevsky saw right through men like you, men who love to tell themselves they're noble when in reality they're just cowards hiding behind the illusion of duty. He once wrote, "Suffering is part of the vast love of the universe, but meaningless suffering, self-inflicted suffering, this is madness. And madness is what you've chosen. You're not suffering like a man, you're suffering like a slave. You're suffering like someone who threw away his mission, his vision, his life just to keep her from leaving. It's like burning down your house because you're afraid someone might notice you need to vacuum. The worst part? She can't even respect you for it because she sees what you refuse to admit, that you're not doing it from strength, you're doing it from fear, the fear of being alone, the fear of being unloved, the fear of building something for yourself and realizing you are the only one responsible if it fails. So you shift that burden onto her. You make her the center, you make her success your life's mission, you make her dreams your justification for breathing. And when she no longer needs you, you'll tell yourself you were used, when in reality you volunteered to be forgotten, like someone who deliberately steps into quicksand and then complains about getting dirty. Dostoevsky would call it spiritual humiliation, the slow death of a man who never had the courage to build his own kingdom, so he rented space in someone else's. You're like a guy who moves into his girlfriend's place and rearranges all her furniture but never unpacks his own boxes. You tell yourself you're different, but you're not. You're just another man who thinks sacrifice makes him noble, when sacrifice without self-respect makes him nothing, like someone who donates a kidney to a stranger who didn't ask for it and then gets mad when they don't send a thank you card. You've forgotten the first rule of being a man: you are responsible for your own survival, not hers. Not theirs, yours. Because if you don't build yourself, if you don't lead yourself, if you don't fight for yourself, you'll wake up one day begging for the very life you could have built all along. And make no mistake, she will leave, not because she's ungrateful, but because deep down she never wanted to carry the weight you refused to carry yourself. You made her your purpose, your mission, your identity, and now you wonder why she lost interest, why she grew cold, why she looks at you and no longer sees the man she once believed in. Because you stopped being a man when you stopped living for yourself, and she saw it long before you were brave enough to admit it. It's like a magician who reveals all his tricks and then wonders why the audience isn't amazed anymore. So here's your choice: keep sacrificing yourself to upgrade her life while yours falls apart, like a guy who keeps donating blood until he passes out. Or wake up, reclaim your time, rebuild your mission, and stop living as a man who lives for someone else's validation. Dostoevsky warned you long before I did. You don't lose your life in a moment, you lose it inch by inch, choice by choice, excuse by excuse, until there's nothing left but the man who gave it all away for nothing. And now here you are, standing in the rubble of a life you thought was built on love but was really built on fear, and you still don't know who you were without her. That's the real tragedy, because you could have built a fortress, you could have built a legacy, you could have built yourself into the kind of man that no woman could ever outgrow. But you didn't. You built her dream, you upgraded her comfort, you made her life easier while yours became smaller, quieter, emptier. It's like being the backstage crew for a play where you never get to be in the spotlight, and you bought all the tickets. Here's the part you don't want to hear. She doesn't owe you anything, not loyalty, not gratitude, not love, not even a thank you for all the years you sacrificed. Because you didn't do it for her, you did it for yourself, for the weak, approval-starved version of you who thought being needed was the same thing as being valuable. It's like a dog who thinks his master loves him because he feeds him, when really he just doesn't want him to die. Dostoevsky warned you about this. He wrote, "To love is to suffer, and to suffer is to love." But you skipped the part he didn't say out loud, that suffering without boundaries isn't love, it's self-betrayal, like someone who keeps touching a hot stove and calls it cooking. You were never supposed to sacrifice your entire existence. You were never supposed to erase yourself to make someone else feel secure. You were never supposed to trade your mission for their comfort. You were supposed to build something bigger than both of you, something they could trust you to lead, something they could respect you for creating, something that outlived their presence. But you didn't. You built a temple for someone else, lit the candles, swept the floors, and then stood outside waiting for someone to invite you back in, like a guy who builds a restaurant and then waits for permission to eat there. Look at your life. Look at the energy you've poured into making her dreams real. Look at the sacrifices you've made, the opportunities you passed up, the years you wasted trying to make her stay. Now tell me, what did you build for you? Where's your foundation? Where's your mission? Where's your life? You don't know, do you? Because you never made yourself the project. You never made yourself the priority. You never made yourself the man she could respect without needing to save you. And now you're alone, not because she's gone, but because you were never really there to begin with. You were too busy building her life while yours slowly disappeared, like someone who spends so much time taking pictures of a vacation that they never actually experience it. So here's the final warning: if you don't stop this cycle now, if you don't reclaim your mind, if you don't rebuild your life from the ashes of what you wasted, you will live the rest of your days as the man who spent his life upgrading someone else's world while his own burned quietly in the background. That's how most men die, empty, forgotten, unbuilt, like those guys who work their whole lives to buy a sports car at 60, only to find out their back hurts too much to drive it. But that doesn't have to be you, not if you turn around now. Dostoevsky knew the darker the night, the brighter the stars, and right now, you're in the night. You've lost years, you've lost yourself, you've lost the respect you once thought you had. But you haven't lost everything, not yet. You're still breathing, you're still listening. You still have one thing left: the power to stop lying to yourself. Dostoevsky wrote about the man who collapses under the weight of his own lies, the man who can't bear to face the truth of who he's become. But he also wrote about the man who, finally, after all the destruction, chooses to stand up again. And that man could still be you. But first, you have to let go of the lie that your life is worth less than hers. You have to kill the belief that your only value comes from being needed. You have to stop playing the martyr, stop playing the provider with no purpose, stop playing the fool who gives the world away just to avoid being alone. You were not born to be someone's emotional crutch. You were not born to be her retirement plan. You were not born to sponsor someone else's comfort while you drown in quiet regret. You were born to build, to lead, to suffer for something that belongs to you, to sacrifice for a vision that lives beyond her approval. To live without hope is to cease to live, Dostoevsky wrote, and you've lived without hope long enough. It's time to rebuild. It's time to face the brutal silence you've been avoiding. It's time to stop pretending that your life has no weight, no mission, no worth outside of making someone else's easier. It's time to walk away, not from love, not from women, not from people, but from the version of you that made them your only reason for living. Because the world doesn't need another man who lives for approval. The world is full of those guys. They're like pigeons in the park, numerous and covered in their own shit. The world needs men who build from the inside out, men who choose their mission over comfort, men who choose meaning over validation, men who choose responsibility over applause. It's like George Carlin said, "The reason I talk to myself is because I'm the only one whose answers I accept." That's what you need to become, a man who accepts his own answers. And here's the cold truth, you don't need her life to get better, you need your life to stop getting worse. So stand up, not for her, not for them, for you. Because when you rebuild yourself, when you rise from the ashes of your wasted years, when you stop trying to buy love with sacrifice, you won't need to beg for anyone to stay. They'll follow you because this time, you'll actually be leading, like a lighthouse that doesn't chase ships but guides them simply by standing firm. But don't think for a second that rebuilding will be easy. Dostoevsky made it clear, nothing meaningful ever is. He wrote, "The mystery of human existence lies not in just staying alive but in finding something to live for." And that's what you've been running from, not the pain, not the sacrifice, not the cost. You've been running from the emptiness you feel when you realize you've never defined your own purpose. Because it's easier to make someone else the mission. It's easier to make someone else's happiness your job. It's easier to disappear into someone else's life than to build one of your own, like a man who becomes a movie critic because he's too afraid to make his own films. You've mastered the art of giving without building, sacrificing without standing, providing without leading. And now that it's over, now that she's gone, now that you're left with nothing but yourself, you finally realize you've never built anything that belongs to you, like someone who spends their whole life decorating a rented apartment and then gets evicted. But here's the hidden gift in all of this, she's gone, and now you have no one left to hide behind, no one left to blame, no one left to distract you, no one left to carry the burden you refuse to shoulder for yourself. It's like the universe finally took away your crutches because it got tired of watching you pretend to be crippled. And this is where the real work begins. It begins when you stop apologizing for choosing yourself. It begins when you stop outsourcing your manhood to someone else's comfort. It begins when you take responsibility for the life you've been afraid to build. Because the man you were before, the man who upgraded her life while his own crumbled, he is dead now. And the man you must become, he isn't born out of comfort, he isn't born out of validation, he isn't born out of sacrifice for others while starving himself. He is born the moment you choose to suffer for something that belongs to you. You think she's what you lost? No. You lost yourself. You lost your time. You lost your strength. You lost your dignity. You lost your mission. And you've been standing in the ruins ever since, blaming her for walking away when it was you who abandoned yourself first, like someone who sets their own house on fire and then gets mad at the neighbors for not inviting them over. Dostoevsky's greatest warning isn't about women, it's about men who lose their souls by living for anything other than the truth. And here's the truth, no one is coming to save you. No one is coming to build you. No one is coming to hand you back the years you wasted. You're either going to rise now, or you're going to rot forever in the memory of the man you refuse to become. The choice is yours, and the clock is already ticking, like a parking meter that doesn't care if you're having the time of your life inside. When time's up, time's up. And now you're standing face to face with the truth you've been running from your whole life. You've spent your best years trying to buy love with sacrifice. You've spent your strength trying to prove you're enough by giving everything away. You've upgraded her life, her dreams, her comfort, and called it manhood. But let me tell you something that no one dared to tell you before, validation is not love. Validation is a drug, a sedative for men who are terrified of living without someone else's approval. It's like heroin for the soul, feels great when you're high, kills you slowly over time. And every time you bend, every time you chase, every time you give up more of yourself just to keep her smiling, you feed the addiction that's quietly killing you. It's like watching someone inject poison and calling it medicine. You don't need another woman to tell you that you're enough, you need to become enough for yourself. As George Carlin might have put it, the problem with worrying about what others think of you is that you erroneously assume they're thinking about you at all. So here's what you do, and don't just listen, do it. First, kill the savior complex. Stop trying to fix women. Stop trying to rescue them. Stop making their happiness your life's purpose. You are not God. You are not their father. You are not their life raft. You are a man with a mission far bigger than making her happy. And here's the brutal truth, a woman doesn't want a man who lives for her validation. She wants a man who lives for his mission, who builds something so powerful, so rooted in purpose that she has to fight to be part of it, like a destination worth traveling to, not a bus that picks everyone up. Second, rebuild your mission. What is your life's work? What have you neglected? What dream have you pushed aside to play the provider? It's time to dust it off. It's time to suffer for something that belongs to you. Your body? Rebuild it. Your business? Rebuild it. Your mind? Rebuild it. Your discipline? Rebuild it. Your name? Rebuild it. Because the world doesn't need another man who gave everything away. The world needs a man so committed to his mission that validation from women feels small compared to the mountain he's climbing, like comparing a candle to the sun. Third, confront the empty man inside. Sit alone in silence, no phone, no distractions, no scrolling, just you and the man you've been running from. Write down every excuse you've used to waste your life. Face them one by one. Because until you confront that emptiness, you will always run back to women to fill it. And no woman on earth can fill the void you refuse to face. That's like trying to fill the Grand Canyon with a garden hose. Fourth, earn your own respect first. Start doing hard things for you, not for her, not for applause, not for pity, not for validation. Wake up early. Hit the gym. Build your craft. Keep your word. Make promises to yourself and keep them. Because a man who respects himself never needs to beg for respect from anyone else, not from women, not from friends, not from the world. It's like being your own North Star, no matter how dark it gets, you know which way is up. Fifth, redefine what you want from women. Stop seeking comfort. Stop seeking approval. Stop seeking to be needed. Seek a partner who stands beside the man you already built on your own. Seek a woman who respects your mission, not one who becomes your mission. Because when you build yourself first, you'll stop attracting women who want to use you and start attracting women who want to follow you, like switching from being flypaper to being a magnet. And lastly, guard your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. Stop pouring yourself out for people who would leave you empty. Stop investing your soul into relationships that only take but never build with you. Here's your final action. Make today the day you stop hiding behind excuses. Make today the day you stop living for validation. Make today the day you rebuild your life, brick by brick, choice by choice, fight by fight. Because no woman, no friend, no family member can give you the respect you refuse to earn for yourself. It's like trying to get a plant to grow by staring at it instead of watering it. And if this message hits you, if you know you've been that man, don't just walk away, make a declaration today. Write, I choose to build myself first. Let the world see that you're done playing small. And if you want to take this mission even deeper, support the channel. Get the message out to men who need it. Click the link in the description to get the merch that represents what we stand for. Every shirt you wear, every product you buy, it's not just merch, it's a reminder that you are done living for validation. So hit that like button right now. Share this with the men who are still asleep. Subscribe so you never miss another wake-up call. And visit the support link in the description to help us keep building this message for men like you, men who are finally ready to lead their own lives again. Because Dostoevsky already told you, only real men will ever understand this. And now it's time to prove you're one of them. As George Carlin would say, the game is rigged, folks. But you can't win if you don't play. Just make sure you're playing your game, not someone else's.